Hello and welcome to a series of horrors. I'm Jackie from Canada.
Hi, and I am Jeff from America. USA.
I was thinking that, because I will mention Canada in this podcast and probably a whole bunch of other ones, we should just have, a little national theme that plays each time I mention Canada.
It'd be great. Canada. Something the rest. I don't know. That's the way it starts.
But yeah, welcome to the podcast. Today we will be discussing
Saw number 2.
Yeah.
Season 1, episode 2. The second movie in the 8-episode arc, I guess, we have now of the Saw movies.
Mm-hmm. And this one is directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, I want to say. I'm sorry if that's wrong. And it was written by Darren as well as our friend Lee Winnell.
Yes, I think Lee Winnell comes back just for one more, and he exits after the next one, I believe. Somebody else takes over writing, that writes the rest of them, except I'm not sure about Jigsaw, if he writes Jigsaw or not.
We'll figure that out along the way, I guess. But I did figure out with my research today that this screenplay originally was written by Bousman, and it was a completely different script. It was a completely different movie. That was called The Desperate. And he was just being told that it was very Saw-like. And then he finally got producers on the line, and they saw the success of Saw, and they said, can you just rework this into Saw 2? And they brought on Winnell, and that's that. That's how we got Saw 2.
Well, they brought the right guy in for that.
Yeah, to make it all connect for sure. But how many times have you seen this one, Jeff?
So the first one I've seen maybe 10. This one I've seen maybe about 5 or 6. Not that many. But today maybe 7.
Wow.
So this one I'm not as well versed as the original Saw movie.
Okay. I love how 7 times is not well versed. I felt like I was an expert on Saw 1 based on my 7 watches, but
I was like, no, 10, easy, come on. If you're not quoting, 15 Hookah Gangbang, I haven't seen it enough. It's just not me.
Oh, man. This was my second watch of Saw 2. I saw it in theaters with my friends when I was in the 9th grade. And I remember the first half of the movie, I remember hating it and then appreciating the twist at the end and going, okay, it was okay.
I remember in the movie theater, me guessing the twist maybe 5 minutes before they explicitly show it. I remember me say, wait, I think it's this in my brain because I'm in the movie theater. Mm-hmm. And then it happened. And I was like, I was right. But because they do, just like in the original Saw movie, in the first one, they do give you hints if you happen to notice them. They're like small little subtle ones.
Yeah, I think I noticed one throughout, but we'll get to that.
I noticed one later on. And I was like, that's weird. It's what I thought. That's strange. In this one, they get a little bit more of the Saw formula that you come to see later on. This is when they start going down that road. Because the first Saw movie is not really indicative of the formula they use in the rest of them, in a way. Mm-hmm. Like the traps, this one even has the least amount of traps because it's basically people stuck in a house that need to escape.
Yeah, I was surprised by how little traps there actually were in this movie. I was expecting a lot more. Because
it's really just about one guy going after one person, and that's it. Everybody's basically collateral damage in this.
Pretty much. All right. Should we just get into it?
Let's go.
All right. First off, first thing I noticed. Better font.
It's funny because when I watched it today, the first thing I want to look, I was like, let me see this font. You notice right away that they had a lot more money than the first time.
Yes, definitely. But the font still wasn't great. But as I said, the first movie, their font was reminiscent of word art on Microsoft Word. Yeah. And this time it looked like they had a very early version of Photoshop, and they had added some bevels and shadows to their font. So I was slightly more impressed. Good job on the font.
And maybe they got somebody that knew how to use the program to actually razzle dazzle it a little bit.
Yeah, a first year intern, probably.
Exactly. Not somebody with a lot of experience, but somebody, hey, you've seen it before, right? Good. All right, come on.
Yeah. Exactly. But we open on a man. He's in a dilapidated room, semi-naked as per usual. We see that he has a mirror in front of him. He turns the mirror to himself, and at this point we see that his eye is injured, and he's wearing what I'd call an Iron Maiden for your face.
That's basically correct.
Yeah. And then there is a TV in the room, as always, and it turns on, and that's when we get to see our friend, Billy the Puppet.
Basically saying, hey, you're here because you rat people out, and you're a rat, and you use your eyes to get people in trouble and in jail. What you're going to need to do is get out of this Iron Maiden for your head. This one, he doesn't get a picture of what it's going to do to his head, but you can kind of imagine it's just nails. Since you're a little bit disadvantaged, I'm going to give you a little hint where the key is that I've hidden inside of you. Then it flashes to an x-ray of his head with the key behind his eye.
And I did notice right when the TV turned on that the x-rays were actually just sitting on top of the TV too, as if he needed further proof.
Just in case.
Just in case.
The thing I did find funny was, in his little spiel when he's going to tell him, all right, would you want to give up your eye in order to save your face or something, whatever the rest of the quote is? And I'm like, all right, to put the key there, wouldn't you already did he already kind of lose his eye?
Yeah, I would assume that his eye's already gone. Do we see his eye? I don't
know. No, because it's a bloody mess.
Yeah, and he chickens out. He can't cut into his eye. He struggles way too hard and just cries a whole bunch after setting off that timer. And as we know, Jigsaw doesn't give you a lot of time.
No, about a minute. But that's what I really liked about it, because not everybody is going to be able to do the ridiculous task that's asked of them. He tries. He wants to. You can see he wants to do it, and he's trying to do it, but he can't.
100%. This would be me in the saw trap. I would be chickening right out and be no. I can't do this. What do you mean I have to do this?
You see him, he gets it real close to his eye, but then just trying to put something in your eye. Instinct, pulls it away. So couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He basically cries, yells, and gives up, and then trap closes.
He is dead. I think that was the best death in the movie.
I'm partial towards one later, but yes, this is a good one.
Okay. I'll hear you out on that later.
I'm partial to one.
We then cut to New Kid on the Block, Detective Donnie. Good old Donnie Wahlberg is in this movie. Last time we had Detective Danny. Now we have Detective Donnie. We quickly find out that he has a son, Daniel, who I'm pretty sure that's the actor that was in Scream 4, right? He was the nerdy kid with the camera.
You know what? I saw Scream 4 in the movie theater when it came out and never saw it again. I saw the girl from Heroes is in it.
I was trying to place this kid the whole time, and I think that's where he's from. But we find out that he's a little criminal, stolen something and been caught, and his dad come to bail him out. We also quickly learn that his parents are divorced. Their relationship between father and son is quite strained as Donnie yells at him to go ahead and stay with his mom and not come back.
Actually, the kid wants to go back to his mom early. Donnie Wahlberg's like, what do you say to me? He goes, you heard me. Say it again. It's very Dr. Gordon-esque in this.
Hair trigger temper on that guy. Interesting fact already.
By the way, he is the guy from Scream 4.
We've looked it up and we know that. Excellent. Interesting fact off the top that I didn't mention, because I did mention I'll be mentioning Canada. This is the first of the Saw films to be filmed in my hometown of Toronto, and all films will be filmed there from now on.
I didn't know that. All right, that's
yeah.
Did you see anything you recognize?
No. The waterfront, but at the same time, it looked like a generic waterfront that I could be like, this could be any city.
Right. Speaking of which, if you want to know about Eric Knudsen, which is the kid in the movie, or Detective's son, he was in Degrassi. He's from Toronto. He's a hometown kid.
Oh, all right.
No, he's been in a bunch of stuff in Canada. He's in Scott Pilgrim, which I know filmed in Canada.
My friend from high school was doing stunts on Scott Pilgrim back in the day. It's a great movie. All right, we're flashing forward. Detective Donnie's trying to call his son. He's worried he hasn't heard from him. And then he gets called into work instead, and we see the female detective from Saw 1. Did we ever get her name?
No, but I always call her Detective Dizzy. I call him Detective Dizzy because she was Dizzy Flores in Starship Troopers, so that's what I just call her Dizzy no matter what movie she's in.
I love it. Okay, Detective Dizzy. We're going to call her that. I think at one point we find out her first name is Carrie.
I think so, yeah.
So now he's on scene with Michael's murder. He's at the location and asked to ID the body, as Michael was an informant for him. He is able to ID him based on an ankle tattoo, and they also notice that there is a jigsaw piece missing from his back.
And this is the movie that he says why he takes the piece out of their bodies.
I did write that down when it happens. But my question in the scene is, as Donnie's crouched down and looking at this corpse, why is Detective Dizzy all smirks in the background? Like she's just ecstatic to be here and like so happy that Donnie's there. Like
my reason for this is somebody that always likes to give a good joke, and she has one ready that she's gonna do later because she knows he's pissed and doesn't want to be there, and she knows him, and they had an affair apparently because she alludes to that later. Yeah, so she knows him pretty well. And then when he tries to leave, she was I think waiting the whole time to tell her, "Hey, look closer, Detective Matthews," because it's written on the ceiling. Yeah. I think she's just sitting there smirking and just waiting for him to just be fed up and leave so that she could just hit him with that. Is my headcanon to it.
That's a fair point.
When she says it, you see the look on her face when she says it. She's like, "What you say to me? Why you telling me to look closer? I'm not. It's him." Dun, dun, dun. And it's written on the ceiling.
You have a very fair point there. I think that's probably what was happening. But at the time I was writing this note, I was just, why? Why are you smirking? There's a dead body there that's been tortured. This is not the time. But as you said, the ceiling says, "Look closer, Detective Matthews." Then we forward to the police station. Detective Dizzy is watching the Billy the Puppet video that was left for Michael, and Detective Donnie's a little bit pissy.
Well, this is basically his note. This is him the entire movie. He goes from a little bit pissy to very pissy to angry. That's basically all he is. He is like an 80s captain in a police station. All he do is yell and scream, and that's basically his whole thing. The entire movie.
Donnie Wahlberg's thing and everything, though.
He was the bad boy of the New Kids, so maybe.
With his rat tail.
Hey, it was 88, 89. Everybody had rat tails.
I'm glad I missed those years. Anyway. So he's pissed at her for what she pulled at the scene. She says that she plays games just like this killer. And then, this is before they admitted to the affair. I'm like, what's with all this sexual tension? I could cut it with a knife. What is happening here?
It's like, you already lost your wife because we started messing around. Don't lose your son over something.
Yeah, I wrote down that line later. That's once they're at Jigsaw's. But like here, it's just like they're getting real close to each other. I forget what they were saying, but all of it was just very sexual.
She's getting close to him, but he's like not having it. He's like, "Listen, get away. Just no, stop."
He doesn't know how to be nice to people.
Exactly. I don't know how they started getting along or got together or had the affair, because he doesn't seem like he's a nice guy ever. Like,
no.
Maybe she likes that. Maybe that's just what she's into.
Maybe.
Could be her kink. See, we get into people's kinks. Last time it was Zepp or something. Now it's Dizzy.
Everybody has their kink. She says that he should work the case with her. He wrote your name on the wall. He asked for you. And my question there is, wouldn't that make this a conflict of interest for him?
It definitely would. But I think, and for her point of view, at this moment in time, is, all right, he's asking for him, so maybe if he's at least on the case, we can find him. Now, later on, it makes no sense to keep him around. But right now, I kind of get it. All right, it's a conflict of interest, but at least you must know something that he's asking for you and telling you to look close, so maybe I'll be able to catch him. Because I've been trying to catch him since the first movie. Yeah. After Danny Glover was disgraced and became a lunatic.
Was just talking to pictures of seeing, we're going to get him! We're going to get him! Sing!
We're going to go! Oh, yes. I know you're going to come with me.
Well, Donnie at first says that, he has too much on his plate. We find out that he's been desked anyways. He is on desk duty now, but we don't know why.
I can gather it's probably from beating up suspects.
Well,
I know.
We do find out later, but at this point, we don't know why.
Exactly.
And then Donnie's trying to sleep later, and he recalls the death mask and that it was branded with Wilson Steel, which is a factory that he's aware of. So, unlike Detective Donnie calls in a tactical team and gets backup for this, and doesn't try to chase the serial killer on his own.
And also, at least, the Detective Danny Glover, in his obscure little gang reference thing for the gang that apparently only him and Detective Singh knew about, that controlled the 4-block radius of empty warehouses. This is like a company. Like, wouldn't any other cop that was there taking pictures, CSI guy, Detective Dizzy, somebody just noticed, hey,
it's this brand?
Yeah, it's branded somehow. Maybe we should look into that. Maybe. Just saying.
Yeah.
Somebody. You take a poll, David Gordon's fingerprints off of this pen light. You could probably open up the yellow pages, because it was a long time ago. It was the internet then, I guess. And see what's going on.
I have a whole lot of questions about this police department and who they hire, what the qualifications are, because have we met a good cop yet? I'm not sure. Especially not the next guy that I see, as he uses a battering ram to open an open door. Like, it is not a locked door. It just caves straight in. Like, it was not locked at all. You just need to tap it and it would have moved.
Would have looked at it bad. It just would have fallen over off the hinges. You know, I just want to make sure, like, we get in.
Oh man!
And you're talking about the head of the SWAT team. Okay, yeah. That guy. He gets his own movie eventually.
No, I don't think it's him. I think it's one of like the bit characters. I think he's the one that gets his legs broken.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's him. I just saw him from the back. But
if it's the guy that gets leg broken, then yeah, no, they're not him. I know the black guy in this one. He gets his own movie. I think 2 movies or 3 movies from now.
But anyways, I've already mentioned the guy gets his legs broken. It's because the stairs are booby trapped. First, they trip some sort of wire, and Billy the puppet appears at the top of the stairs with his tricycle. And then I don't really get, like, it's slowed down and everything, but I rewinded it, and I still don't quite get what comes out of the stairs to break his legs.
You beat me to it, because I've seen this movie 6-7 times and I've never understood this trap. It seems, the best I can gather, it seems to be pressure sensitive. So when you put a certain amount of weight on one of these steps, a 2x4 or like a panel comes and like hits your shin and breaks it. Like it's like a spring load thing is all I can figure. I've watched this movie a bunch of times. Like, I don't understand this trap. I've never have. So I've given up on trying. I'm like, you know what? It's just
just don't get it. But while his legs are being broken, also the door behind them in this weird cage situation they're in closes, and then a bunch of sparks fall on them, but like it doesn't seem to be hurting them. It's just sparks.
If you notice, when it's over, only the one that broke his legs, he's moving, nobody else is. So I'm guessing it kills the rest of them.
Okay. I didn't notice that. I thought the guy that's going to be in the next movie, I thought he was already with them, but clearly I wasn't paying close attention to the scene because I was so distracted by how the heck did his legs get broken?
Seen it a bunch of times, no idea, every time. And they allude to it, they focus in on it. You see springs moving and strings moving on pins. I'm like, all right, I know it's pressure sensitive, whatever it is.
Slow it right down when the thing comes out too. Like it slows down as if you could see it better, but you can't. Like, you still are like, what is happening? So the rest of the team comes running in, and now they're able to go up the stairs. They are safe, and they have entered Jigsaw's little shop of horrors. Jigsaw is there. The team tells him to get down on his knees. He can't because he's
very, very sick at this point.
Yeah, he's real sick, and he's hooked up to all these IVs and monitors and oxygen. And I mean, this might be a dumb question because this man seems to source a whole lot of stuff, but did the hospital just let him walk out with this stuff? They tend to not let you do that, but
he is independently wealthy.
He just has like a nice little nurse that comes and takes care of him while he builds death traps.
I can't wait for us to look at part 3 and the little hospital he builds for himself.
Oh my God.
So don't worry. Don't worry. Like, the next one, if you think this is bad, wait till part 3.
Oh no. Okay. I love whenever I try to like pick a plot hole, you're like, no, not a plot hole. It gets covered. It's still ridiculous, but it gets covered.
I love watching this because now I love this because when you're like, there's a plot hole, I'm like, actually, somebody was paying attention.
No, they got their own Jackie from Canada to just sit there with her notebook, write down all these things and be like, this was kind of ridiculous. And they're like, okay, in 3 movies, we're going to address why that happened.
Yes, we're going to address this. We're going to take care of this. All right, we'll do a line. We'll show a scene. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of this.
So they quickly restrain Jigsaw, and they search him. They say he's clear. And new kid Donnie gets all cocky looking at him and gets in Jigsaw's face. And while he's open-mouthed chewing some gum, by the way, which is the most disgusting thing.
It reminded me of CinemaSins. I don't know if you watch CinemaSins at all.
I have seen some, but I don't think I saw it for this one.
Oh no, they didn't do it for this one. But whenever anybody's eating an apple, like, yes, eat an apple, and it's gonna make you look more like an asshole. It's like the same thing here. Like, chew gum with your mouth open. They don't make you look like an asshole.
Yeah, I was not needed. And he also asks Jigsaw at this point while he's chewing in his face, "Is this close enough?"
I just thought of something today watching this movie. This has got to be one of the not only, but this is one of the weird franchises where you actively, it's like guides you to not like the protagonist.
Yeah, it definitely does that. Except that I loved Adam.
Because technically the protagonist of the first one, I think, was Dr. Carrioways, Dr. Wesley. I think it was him. Really, Adam was just like stuck in Dr. Wesley game. This one is just like Detective Matthew, Detective Hart, Detective Handcuff.
Oh, New Kids. My sister, Nikki, if you're listening to this, she loved New Kids on the Block. We had the Donnie Wahlberg Barbie doll. She had a blanket that we still have to this day. That's all the New Kids' faces. Yeah, I was well versed in New Kids as a child.
One of my uncles one time gave me a videotape of a concert, of a New Kids concert, because he worked like for CBS as a janitor or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so like when they would toss his stuff, he would just like, hey, this is like, so he would always have these demo tapes and CDs eventually and all this stuff. So he just gave me, hey, look, kids like this. They're popular now. You're a kid. Here.
All right. Jigsaw says that Donnie has to stay here a while because he has to deal with the problem in that room. Donnie then proceeds with the rest of his team to head straight into the room that the madman mass killer has told him to go into. Lucky for them, it's not booby trap, but they do unveil some monitors that are showing some people that are trapped somewhere, including Daniel, Donnie's son. What's he doing on those monitors is what he asks, and Jigsaw decides to take over Adam's role as Mr. Sassy Pants. It says, I haven't looked at the monitors in a little while, so it would be hard for me to say, but I would imagine that he's cowering in a corner.
Which is epic, because once they reveal what they reveal, it's hilarious why he would say this now, because that's about what he would be doing at this moment.
Exactly. And then, so at this point, Donnie loses his shit at Jigsaw. He's about to, like, jump him. And then this is when I realized Detective Donnie's name in this movie. His name is Eric Matthews, as in the older brother from Boy Meets World, as in plays with squirrels.
I knew the last name. I didn't capture the first name.
I had subtitles on to try to help me with my writing all these dialogue bits. Yeah, no, so the cop restraining him he says, Eric, it's not worth it, or something like that. And I was like, I'm sorry, his name is Eric Matthews?
What would you have thought if his son's name was Corey?
Yeah, that would have been so good. Or like Sean. Just like any other Boy Meets World character. Wait a second. Isn't the youngest son named Daniel when they like have the son in like the last season? I need to look this up.
There's a son in the last season?
Amy has a son. Oh no, it's Joshua. I'm wrong.
I was about to say, no, the show they had a daughter in Girl Meets World or whatever they called it. But I love how Detective Matthews goes up immediately. The second he sees his son on TV, he's turned up to 11 for the rest of the movie. It's just, that's it. I'm at 11, losing my mind. From here on out, there is no stopping me. There is no even 10 to 9. No, 11 to 12.
There is a moment where he's just like slightly like sad and complacent, but it's very short-lived.
Jigsaw, in his infinite wisdom, listen, hey, I want to play a game with you.
Wait, can I just interrupt for a second here? First, Detective Eric Matthews. He calls his son's cell phone, assuming that, Jigsaw would have left him with the cell phone, but instead we hear that Jigsaw has re-recorded his voicemail.
That is an epically wonderful troll move.
It was so good. Oh.
And if I ever meet Tobin Bell, I want him to record my voicemail message. Just putting it out there. Tobin, if you're listening, please. Is he on Cameo? Get him to do that on Cameo for me. I'll pay.
We'll pay for him on Cameo. Oh my gosh, get him to do the intro to our show.
Oh, that'd be so great.
Oh, that would be great. Okay. So now we're cutting to the room that is being displayed on the monitors. Inside this room, there are 5 males and 2 females. And somebody passed out along the floor who we can't really see at this moment. My beef with this. Nobody is introduced. We do not get names for these characters until points that don't make sense. And because this bothered me so much, I thought, maybe I just missed the moment where they introduced this person because they started calling him by his name at the end of the movie. I looked up the script and I searched through it using the find function. No, he never introduced himself. And they don't know his name until he's dead.
And they call him by name.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense to me. But anyways, so what I did when I was writing my notes initially, because I figured I would eventually get their names, I gave them nicknames to start with. So my first nickname involves Brown Jacket, who we will find out his name is Jonas eventually.
All right, so Showgirl, got it.
Showgirls, that's where he's from. Okay, I like Showgirls better than Brown Jacket. Showgirls is trying to wake up the passed out person on the floor, and in the initial little bits of conversation that they're having, he and Pink Shirt, I call her.
That's the one I don't know, because the other one's Seventh Heaven.
Yeah. So Pink Shirt, who I don't know her from anything, they both kind of implicate themselves as criminals in a throwaway line. Then the passed out person wakes up. It's Amanda from Saw 1, and she's the only person that introduces herself by name.
The one that didn't have to, because if you saw someone, you already know her name.
Exactly. But only person, like, even Daniel doesn't say his name, but we just know his name is Daniel because we were introduced to him earlier. But he doesn't say his name in this situation, and they call him by his name as well. All of this is very confusing to me.
As you can tell, Newell can write this all the way. He probably just helped.
He just came in for a day to be like, okay, I'm going to add this last scene where you see my corpse.
And I'm going to add all the sassy pants lines. Let's go, sassy pants.
Jigsaw needs to have my sassy lines now.
Someone needs to have my quips. Quip. All right, we got
that. I have noted that Amanda has a new emo kid haircut. Good for her.
I like it.
She is freaking right out, and she starts searching the entire room because she knows this deal. And she finds the recorder behind some loose bricks in the fireplace.
And they get a pretty general recording, if I remember right, on this one. It's just like, hey, welcome everybody. You're all trapped in this house with a nerve toxin going through your body that's going to kill you. If you heard about this gas leak and like some terrorist action, you know what it'll do.
Yeah.
I don't know what it'll do because I don't know what they're talking about, but fine.
Exactly.
They do.
Like, that went over my head. He says that they'll be dead in 2 hours, and the door will open in 3. They need to find the antidote, and it's hidden around the house. One is hidden in the safe in front of them. And then he says, you all possess the combination to the safe. Think hard. The numbers are in the back of your mind. The clue to their order can be found over the rainbow. Once you realize what you all have in common, you will gain a better understanding of why you are here. X marks the spot for the clue, so look carefully.
That is a very un-Jigsaw kind of clue. The over the rainbow thing is a little bit poetic for him usually, but okay.
I figured it out. I guess I saw this movie before in theaters, but honestly, I didn't remember anything except for the final twist of the bathroom scene, and the needle pit. I remember the needle pit. But,
I remember the needle pit. That's
because I have a phobia of needles, so that one was rough for me. But
you'll have one now. Okay.
For me, as soon as he said the numbers are at the back of your mind, I was like, okay, they're on the back of your necks. Why aren't you all looking at the back of your necks? Also, why did none of them ask who I call Beefcakes and you call Frankie G? Why did no one ask Beefcake why he had a number on the back of his neck? Because his would have been clearly apparent based on what he's wearing and his short hair.
True. Like, somebody would have noticed it. But then again, he had tattoos, so I could imagine somebody just thinking, hey, maybe he has a 7 on the back of his head for whatever reason. I don't know if his number is actually 7, and I don't think they actually ever show it. But, the OB guy, he had like a jacket with a high collar, so I wouldn't have seen it on him.
Mm-hmm. And he was wearing a hood at the beginning.
And all the girls had the hair, so they're out. Daniel, not sure. Yeah, I think he just had a t-shirt on.
He just had a t-shirt on. But we never see the number on his neck, period, so I don't know where it was placed. So, anyways, they all start questioning Amanda, and my friend Beefcakes, Frankie G, finds a key and a note that says not to use it on the door. But he tries it anyways, just for funsies.
And this is the funniest part to me, is not that he tries it, because of course you're going to try it. So I can't even fault him for trying it, because he doesn't know the whole Jigsaw deal. But the other guy, what were you looking at? It wasn't... All right.
He was looking straight into a gun, is what he was looking at, Jeff.
Just in context, there's a key and there's a peephole. And there's another. Frankie G puts the key in the lock, starts to turn it. Some rando that's in there decides to look through the peephole at nothing, because if there's a gun barrel on the other side, you can't see anything. And keeps his eye there the whole time. When the key finishes turning, there's a weird mechanism that causes the gun to shoot into the door. Bang, dead, shot in the head.
What do you think this actor's process was? Like, getting super excited. I got cast for Saw 2. All right, all right. Gets his script, sees that he has 2 lines and that he dies in the dumbest way.
So I do what now? You go up to this door and you look through that peephole. What do I see? There's nothing there but a gun barrel. I was going to shoot you in the head.
So
why?
Then I'm out. That's it. That's all I have to do. Yep. We need you for a half hour. That's it.
Well, maybe he was there longer, because if you think about it, if Tobin Bell had to lay on the ground during the whole of Saw 1, maybe this guy was just maybe his job was, he was there 3 weeks, 1 day of shooting and 2 weeks of laying on the ground.
Laying on the ground. Maybe. Or maybe they could afford dummies at this point.
Yeah, I think they had a little bit more money now. You could tell. They have more locations. Well, not many more locations, but still.
Although, once again, it was all filmed in one building.
And the car chase was just as epic as the first time.
Yeah, I did note that as well. I'm like, they did an homage. It's not exactly the same, but it was very similar.
Close enough. It's them trying to do the same thing, but with actual money this time. The first time was because they had no other choice. This time it's because it make it look the same.
Yeah, it's a stylistic choice. This is how it works in the movies. This is how people drive cars.
This is the way it is. I love whenever they pull up to places like they're pulling rubber vests, and like they're really slow when they get there. It's just like,
yeah. Oh man. Okay, so Amanda reveals that the person on the tape was Jigsaw. She says this by name, and Pink Shirt says that she also knows who he is based on the news. And Amanda says that she's played before. They need to follow the rules.
And no one listens, by the way.
Pretty much.
Frankie G, his job is to be the antagonist of the antagonist, I guess, and just be difficult and hard-headed the entire movie.
Yeah, him and Donnie are, like, they would have been best friends in another life, I feel like. Because they are the same person. They are just at 100% of the time. Yes.
Even though Frankie G had one good point, and he's about to have his only good point of the movie in a little while. When they first get out the room. When the door opens on its own eventually.
Mm-hmm.
They see a little mechanism that caused Mr. No Name to get shot in the head. And Frankie G runs off and screw it, I'm getting out of here. And then the showgirl's like, no, we're trapped. We're here. I'm like, you see these things? This is plaster and wood. We could break down the walls and get out of here. And I'm like, Frankie G, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, I would think the same thing at this point in the movie.
Yeah.
Because it's true.
It is true. But before we get to them escaping the first room, we do switch back to Jigsaw's little shop of horrors. They've watched the first victim on the monitor, and they're calling in the tech team to try to trace the feed. Jigsaw is turning himself around in his wheelchair to talk to Donnie super casually. Jigsaw says that he wants some Detective Donnie time alone, winky face.
Ooh.
So Donnie goes back to check in with his team before he does this. And our cop friend that's going to return in Saw 4, you said?
I think it's 4 or 5. Okay. They all blend together after 3 to me, so 4 to 7 is kind of all a mix.
It's a mixed bag. All right. Well, our friend that's going to be returning later, he's just super down with police brutality. He's just
all about it.
Yeah. He's like, just start hitting him. Get some answers.
Like, hey, why are we not hitting him yet? He's almost upset. Like, listen, why are we even talking to him?
Yeah.
What's the point of
There's no point in talking. Let's start the beatings.
Come on. And I like it because Detective Dizzy, the whole time, she's like, listen, the phone book treatment is not going to work on him. I know what you're at. I know what you're going to do. Like, she's very matter of fact. So apparently, this is, I don't know how they do police work up in Canada where this is filmed, but man, they just...
I thought Canadians were known for their niceness. I feel
like... too, but not in the Saw franchise, apparently.
No.
What's going on?
But then this is where we reveal, and now I understand, the sexual tension, because we find out that from Detective Dizzy, you lost your son once because you were involved with me. I don't want it to happen again.
So talk to him, humor him, because that's all he wants. It's all Jigsaw says the whole time. Hey, I just want to talk to you.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Exactly. But now we're back to the room, and the door opens, and this is where they all go out into the hallway and see that all the different doors are locked. They do find a flashlight, and Pink Shirt coughs up some blood. But then we're back again, just like the last movie with the constant flashbacks, the constant back and forth between the two places that they are. Sometimes the cuts are just too short, in my opinion. Like this one, where...
Because all they did was leave the room and then they cut back.
Exactly. There was no point to that cut there. They should have just had one fuller scene of Donnie then going to talk to Jigsaw, which is what he's going to do now. And this is where Jigsaw tells him, I want to play a game. The rules are simple. All you have to do is sit here and talk to me, listen to me. If you don't do that long enough, then you will find your son in a safe and secure state.
I love one little thing that Donnie Wahlberg doesn't know what to deal with it, because he's like, listen, if you don't tell me this, I'm going to kill you. He goes, listen, I have cancer. What are you going to do to me? Like, I'm dying now.
This is where Donnie's like just sitting there sad. He's like, oh, he's right. He has cancer. What am I going to do? I'll just be sad.
I'll just be sad. But he comes back to his one note a couple times. Listen, say this or I'm gonna kill you. And every time, you can, which is fine.
Yeah.
But I'm dying now.
I'm dying anyways, so you're just making it faster for me.
I'll be dead in 20 minutes, so I really don't know what you threatening to kill me is gonna do.
Yeah. This is where we get the reveal from Jigsaw about why he cuts the puzzle piece out of all of his victims. It wasn't supposed to be necessarily a calling card. He didn't want to be called Jigsaw. He cut the piece out of them to symbolize that they were missing their survival instinct. To call back to you saying that you don't think that Jigsaw's overly poetic, this seems pretty poetic.
That one does, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he's a soft and sensitive soul who used to also do slam poetry.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe he was one of these guys used to just hit the stage, slam poetry, and get all the snaps.
All the snaps.
Way, it seems bad when you it seems like a joke, like when you see it on TV and stuff. But when you're actually on stage and you get the snaps, it is great.
It's very rewarding.
It feels very good. There's another thing they don't really talk about. It's called the rewind. Which the whole crowd will yell rewind, and you got to say like the last couple lines over again because it was so good they wanted to hear you say it again. Neither here nor there. It's just a totally different thing. But the snaps are real, and the snaps are cooler than they look on TV. Just thought I'd share.
I can believe that. In my 5th grade class, I think the teacher just like was prone to migraines or something, so she told us whatever we had to applaud, we would just snap instead.
Snaps are cool. They are.
Yeah, but I had to learn how to snap at that point because I hadn't yet.
Oh, I snap very weird. I don't use my middle finger.
You don't? How do you snap?
No. I use my pointer finger and I like put my middle finger over it and like push that. It's weird because no one had to show me and I just like learned to do it that way.
I just never really snap loudly. Like it's 1 in 20 that will be loud enough to actually register.
Yeah.
Where are we? Oh, Jigsaw implies that 5 years ago, Donnie broke a suspect's jaw with a flashlight. Donnie then confirmed this, and that's why he's on desk duty now. Now we're back to the... Do you think that this was the premise of escape rooms being born? Because that's how I felt in this movie.
This feels very... I've done a couple, so this feels like an escape room.
Yeah.
Like so much like an escape room.
You do this, and then the door opens, and then you get to the next room and figure out that puzzle, and then another door opens. With
a lot less more padlocks. That's the one thing I find weird about escape rooms. You enter a room with 27 padlocks on it of different kinds that you've never seen before. Like, this one is like letters. This one's musical notes. Yeah. This one's like a pad. I'm like, they make padlocks that work this way? What's going
This
on?
one's a directional one, and like
what?
If you don't reset it in between, you're screwed.
I did escape room once. The first time I did an escape room, we had to like steal a painting because whatever the theme is. Yeah. We're in one room. We do the whole room. It took us a little while. Like, all right, we go. We didn't know there was a second room. Mm-hmm. We go into the second room, and I just looked around and saw, without kidding you, like 15 different padlocks on different things, and I was like, "We're screwed.
We are not making it out of this place."
I just looked at padlocks everywhere. Like every thing had a padlock, every corner. I was like, what the hell is this?
Oh man. First escape room I did with a boyfriend at the time and all of his buddies. Yeah. And so there was something like a box that had a padlock on it, and there were all these drawings on it, and there were geometric drawings. I'm like, I guarantee you it's how many triangles are in this geometric shape and like that, then like how many squares are in this one and like whatever that's going to be the combination for that. Can you guys just like help me figure this out or whatever? And they're like, no, that's fucking stupid. We're not listening to you. And they like refuse to help me with it because they're like, also like you had to like multiply it or something. I forget. I'm terrible at math, for the record. So I needed some help with it, but they're like, no, that's fucking stupid. You don't know what you're doing. And then eventually they're like, we're absolutely stuck. We have to call in for a hint. Okay, call in for a hint. The guy picks up the box. He's like, do you see these shapes? Starts saying exactly what I said. And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes total sense, man. I'm like, really? It does?
Wow. Oh, so you got mansplained. You got
Yep.
Like, man, somehow when Jackie said it, it didn't make no sense. But now hearing it from the voice in the sky,
yeah,
I don't know. Somehow the voice of God, when they say it, it kind of makes a little bit more sense. I wish I was the voice in the sky because I'd been. Remember when the girl there said this, and this, but that.
No, like he was making eye contact with me while he explained it. Like he knew that like I was onto it and that they just were being jerks to me, but didn't want to call him out straight. I was like, all right.
We tried to break the room a couple times. They're like, listen, don't touch that. That's not part of the puzzle. You're gonna break the room. Like, okay. Just like, when we go back to like, I told you already not to move that. I'm like, oh fuck, we forgot.
Yeah, no, like people go nuts. So there's 2 really great escape rooms in town, but one that I absolutely love and I've had several friends work for called Improbable Escapes here in Kingston, Ontario. They have told me that they've had people rip up the flooring. They've had people like make holes in walls, like all sorts of fucking crazy things, being like, yeah, this is totally part of the room. No, it's not. Don't do that.
All right, so Jackie, I'm gonna throw something out there right now for the fans we have. If they want to fund a trip for me and you to go to Vegas, they have a Saw-themed escape room in Vegas.
Let's do this.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. It's Saw themed and it's in Vegas.
Okay.
Neither of us are in Vegas, but if our generous fans want to send us to Vegas, we could do a Saw escape room.
It will be like meeting in the middle, except really not in the middle because I like it's further than the middle for me. But anyways.
Yeah, me and you meeting in the middle would be like what? Tennessee, maybe?
Yeah, I would say Tennessee.
Something around there, I guess, would be the middle. But yes, just throwing it out there, in case somebody listens to this down the road. That, hey, you know what? Saw escape room in Vegas. If it's funded, I'll do it. I don't know how. We'll make it fun somehow. I don't know how. We'll record ourselves failing at it or something. We'll make it out.
This is the dream now.
Yeah, see? See, we have a goal now.
Yeah.
GoFundMe. Send us to Vegas.
I was like, spark up that GoFundMe. We need
to set it up. After the pod is up, we're gonna start a GoFundMe. Jackie and Jeff to Vegas so that we can do the Saw escape room.
Oh man.
And maybe gamble a little bit and catch a show. We'll be there already. We might as well.
We'll see Celine.
Yeah, it's only right. Those tickets might be expensive. If you want to fund us a little bit more to get Celine tickets, that's great.
My heart will go on if you fund those tickets.
I don't even want to go, but my heart will go on as well. It's just...
Oh, man. Okay. Well, we are back to Beefcakes in the escape room, and he has a baseball bat that's covered in nails. Where did he get that again? I didn't notice that.
It was literally sitting against the door when they left the room. It was just there. Or in a corner. They left the room, they turned the corner, it was like in the corner, just propped up.
Why? Because, like, other than him beating down this door right now... Oh, I guess... Wait.
It does come back later a couple times.
It does come back later a couple times. Maybe Jigsaw wanted to give them an alternate way to save Obi, and that was that. Maybe. Okay.
Maybe.
But anyways, Beefcakes has the baseball bat, and he starts breaking down the door that is spray painted saying exit. And once he breaks down to the outside, he sees that there is metal bars that are padlocked, also blocking their way.
Yeah, which I can't blame him for breaking the door down, because why not try that? It is just made out of wood, and you're a big, strong boy. You're a big, strong boy, so I'm sure you can break it down. And he can. Mm-hmm. And then he gets very annoyed and just yells at everybody the whole time. He's like the bully of the group. He just bullies everybody into doing what he wants.
Right now, he slut shames Pink Shirt. That's not cool, man.
No, it's not. He slut shames her. Showgirls tries to say, hey, you've been in jail. I've been in jail. Like, so what? You want a cookie? I'm like, all right, fine.
So Showgirls pieces together that he, Beefcakes, and Pink Shirt all did time. And this is where Seventh Heaven finds a door that opens to underneath the stairs.
Oh, by the way, she is the most pointless character out of all these, because she's basically is sick from moment one.
Yeah.
She looks like she's going to keel over and die any minute now from the second they all wake up. Like everybody else, the rest of them get sick gradually. Almost everybody gets sick gradually.
Yeah.
Except for her. She is sick. She might have been sick before she was taken and put in the room because she is not in good shape. She looks pale and weak and coughing, and she's just no good.
This and her confirmation about Obi later, those are... Oh, wait, no. She does have one other redeeming quality. She finds the X.
Yeah.
Okay, but anyways, I was going to say she's kind of useless most of the time, but no, actually, she's not completely useless.
She does a couple things, but still. Like I feel bad for her the whole time. She gets carried most of the movie. Like, poor Daniel's like, has her at the backpack. Like, all right, come on, let's get you up and get you into this room because you can't even walk.
Beefcake, he takes the lead downstairs, a flashlight, and they find a body that's slumped over a desk. When they move it, it's revealed that it is wearing a mask, and it has an envelope labeled Obi stabbed into its chest with a knife.
And Obi hasn't said much. No, he's just been really creepy around.
Yeah, he's just been sketchy and wearing his hood.
They're all yelling and screaming, and he's just real sketchy in the background, just like looking around, walking.
Yeah.
Eerily.
So
maybe because he knows people.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's like, oh, I recognize all you people. Shit, this might come back to bite me. Which it does.
And it does.
So
right now.
Beefcake, he starts playing the tape that's inside of the envelope, and we find out that Obi is a con who helped kidnap all of the others. He has offered up 2 antidotes. One is free as a reward for helping Jigsaw kidnap these people, and the other one will be for him to give away, but there will be a price for it. Jigsaw then says, remember, Obi, once you are in hell, only the devil can help you out.
So then there's a big oven, boiler, furnace, all of the above.
Yeah, and that's what Obi's been like tapping on, trying to check it out, whatever. Meanwhile, Seventh Heaven remembers and starts freaking out because she remembers Obi kidnapping her. He was the last man that she saw before she woke up in this shithole. And this is where we find out that Obi's a kinky motherfucker because Beefcakes threatens him with a knife, and then Obi decides to cut his own throat.
He says, if you're gonna threaten me with a knife, you should at least cut me a little. And for the only time in the entire movie, Frankie G. Beefcakes actually is scared. It may be too strong, but knows he can't mess with it. Yeah, disturbed that like this is a guy I won't be able to intimidate.
Yeah,
like you see in his face, like I can't intimidate because he looks at him, takes the knife, cuts his own outside of his throat, like just cut me a little. Come on, listen, I'm gonna go in there regardless. Cause one of these is mine, and y'all can kill yourselves for the rest. I don't even care. So I'm just gonna do this.
He crawls full on into this thing, like feet are in head at first, and he sees that there's one syringe that's hanging down. He pulls that's fine. Then he turns around to face up, and he sees another syringe on a chain, and he pulls that, and that closes and locks the oven door and ignites the fire inside.
And it slowly starts like in stages, like from the door towards him, lighting up. So he like scooches as far as he can to the end of the furnace, and he starts to freak out, which
fair,
of course. But then he does see like a little knob with a picture of the devil on it, and I couldn't quite catch what it said.
I didn't write down what it said either, but basically it was telling him like, yep, this is what you need to do.
Turn this, and it'll basically turn the gas off, which he doesn't even attempt.
No, not really. And they're like screaming instructions at him, like, why don't you try using like your jacket? Why don't you do this? Whatever. And far too late, they realize that there's a window on the other side. I don't know how they didn't see this to begin with, because I did. Like, when the oven door even opened, I was like, oh, look right through. There's a window on the other side. So it takes them a while to realize this. And then even after they notice that there's a window, it takes them another, like, 2 minutes to realize that they should break the window baseball bat they have with all the nails in it. And by then, Obi is pretty much dead.
And I don't think he would have fit through the window anyway, because when he tries to pull out of the window or like pull himself through it, like he kind of gets stuck. So I think it would have been a little bit too big for it. But you know, he did try that, but he just freaks out a bunch and doesn't even try to turn the gas off. So another man down,
and the syringes burned up with him.
No way to get him. And Beefcake's Frankie G loses his natural mind again, as he does a few times during the movie.
That is pretty much all he does in the movie. Okay, but now we're back to Jigsaw. He's talking to Donnie, all these riddles and stuff. Jigsaw goes through his whole entire theory of like why he started this and whatever. His theories pretty much that you start valuing your life upon knowing when you will die. He himself tried to kill himself after he found out about his cancer diagnosis, but he lived. And then that's why the origin story of why he decided to start doing this to other people to inspire them to want to live their lives, I guess.
Yeah, gave him purpose. He's going to give them purpose, whether or not they want it.
Exactly. And then I'm going to go into a whole bit of dialogue here because it becomes relevant later.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, I looked up the script at one point, and that's when I wrote this down. So Jigsaw says, "Do you understand?" Donnie says, "You got a chance to do the right thing now, John. Just tell me where my son is. I'll help you." Jigsaw says, "I don't need your help, and I can tell you still don't understand. Those who don't appreciate life do not deserve life." Donnie says, "My son appreciates life." Jigsaw says, "But do you appreciate yours? Do you appreciate your son's?" Donnie gets pissed off as per usual at this one. He says, "Aw, what is this shit?" And he starts to storm off. Jigsaw then says, "Don't forget the rules. If you want to find your son."
Is this when we come back, or does he hang out with Detective Dizzy for a while?
I think he comes back and they kind of like talk a little bit more, but there's nothing like majorly relevant in the rest of their dialogue here. And then we flash back to the escape room crew. And Amanda reveals that she is back here because she tried to kill herself after the events of the last Saw movie.
Mm-hmm. And she shows, I think, the scars on her wrist.
I think she just shows that there's bandages. Yeah, she doesn't really. They do a flashback to her slitting her wrists. At the time of the escape room, she has 2 bandaged wrists. And at this point, Showgirls, he's found another door without a lock, but it won't open, it's stuck. And that's when good old Beefcake starts to muscle his way in, as he does, slamming himself into the door, and Amanda's saying it's probably a trap, which, yes, usually it is.
And fair, I think it was Showgirls. I think it was Showgirls says everything here is a trap, so might as well. Or it might have been Beefcakes himself that said it.
No, it might have been Beefcakes. I think he said that everything's a trap. And, yep.
He's not wrong.
Oh, man. But why can't I think of the guy from Star Wars that... What's his name?
Oh, General Akbar?
Yes. It's a trap. So Beefcakes muscles his way in, and when he opens the first door, it triggers a timer on a second door. We then see that there's an envelope in this room. It has the name Xavier on it, and we find out that's Beefcake's name, and that he was a drug dealer. It says that the tape tells him that he needs to find a key to the door, and they reveal underneath the bed that there is a pit of syringes that he needs to find the key in.
Yes, and in perfect Beefcake's fashion, he's not going to go in there. So you see him looking at all the people, at which one of these people he's going to throw into this pit of syringes.
Mm-hmm.
And he chooses Amanda.
Yep.
She screams and yells, no, no, no. But he is at least twice her size, I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Picks her up, chucks her in.
I was surprised he chose her. Like, I would have chose Daniel.
I thought he was going to choose Pink Shirt.
Oh, Pink Shirt, yeah. Would have. But, like, Pink Shirt also... So, I've already started to notice this, but I didn't note it until later. A lot of people are showing weakness and showing that they're coughing up blood. They're not doing too well with this poison. But Amanda seems to be doing pretty okay.
That is one of the hints. Amanda and Daniel are doing fine. The entire movie, they never show any signs of anything.
Daniel, like, his face looks like a bit pale, and like you know what I mean. He never coughs, but like he looked a little sickly at least. But Amanda's just stays the same the entire time.
I think Daniel's just stressed over the situation. But Amanda's so calm the whole time. Well, not the whole time, not calm, but she is fine. Like, she does not show any signs. And Showgirls, he shows signs, but later on, Frankie G shows right away. Seventh Heaven is basically dying from moment one.
Poor Seventh Heaven.
She must have got the whatever they gave them first.
Maybe she was in the house the longest, so Obi kidnapped her first.
And considering Seventh Heaven was on at the time of when this movie came out, I figured she would have had a bigger part to play.
I think that originally she did have a bigger part. Like when I was reading some of the facts, I didn't write down all of them, but there were originally more traps and more things that were supposed to happen, but it was just budgetary restraints, so they just cut them. So I think she originally was going to have some sort of trap, but...
No, because I think they actually did write out and traps for everybody. Everybody had their own room. They never show. I think they do show one of them later on, but everybody had their own.
Well, Amanda's in this pit of needles, and it's nightmare fuel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is the one scene, as I was saying, that I recalled from this movie. It traumatized me a bit. Ugh.
And they made sure to make those syringes look dirty and filthy and used and just...
One of my facts that I wrote down was that there are 120,000 syringes in there, and they had to replace all the needles with fiberglass on them so that no one would get actually hurt. And that took them 4 days to complete.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because I have DVD or in the Blu-ray, and I think one of the special features they behind the scenes they show is I think it's a crew of 3 or 4 of them. Mm-hmm. They just did that for 4 days.
Yeah,
their entire job for 4 days was one by one, needle by needle, and they bought a certain amount of needles. They're like, all right, this should be more enough to fill it. When they were done, it was barely even anything. So they had to buy so many more to actually make it look the way it looks in the movie.
Yeah, originally the idea was that it would be so deep it would be like a swimming pool, but then they realized that wasn't going to happen.
Because if you notice, when she gets tossed in, there's a good maybe 3 feet of space between where the needles start and the bottom of the floor. And I think they actually have cushion, a beds on the bottom. They had something on the bottom to make it even look like there was more than there actually were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. She does, and that's the thing. She doesn't get deep into them, so it seems like a shallow pit of needles. But nevertheless, she's being stabbed all over with them. Real gross. She does, however, manage to find the key, but Beefcakes is too late trying to open up the second door, and then he loses his shit and he tries to attack Amanda for that.
That is the part that I found hilarious, but totally in character for him.
Yeah, I fucked up. I also just tortured you. Now I'm gonna beat you too.
Because it's your fault. You didn't get the key in time.
Yeah.
But the entire time, Daniel shows that he's actually not a bad kid. Because the entire time, we should help her. And everybody's like, no, we shouldn't. No.
Everyone else is like, I don't want to jump into a dirty needle pit. And he's like, but helping is good.
But we should do something. Look, she's in pain. They're like, yeah, she's in pain down there where I'm not going to go. That's where she is. That looks not good for me. No, I'm not doing that at all. Even Showgirls, which seems to be the best of the bunch, is like, nah, that's just an antidote I'm not going to get.
He has too much self-preservation. So we're back at the Little Shop of Horrors, and the tech team still is not there.
No rush.
Oh, wait, I skipped one note, which is a very important note. In this scene, Seventh Heaven reveals that she's been to jail as well, which now tells us that everyone there except for Daniel has been to jail. And this is where, a normal person starts to put together, well, who put them into jail? Tech team isn't there yet.
Keep on calling. They're 10 minutes out. They're 5 minutes out. They're 15 minutes out. They're almost always almost there, but they're not there yet. It's not like they're on a time crunch. This is important.
Exactly. It's just taking them forever to even arrive. And so at this point, they decide that their best option is to start destroying all the evidence to piss Jigsaw off.
And he doesn't get even fazed by it. I love the first thing he says, man, it's going to be hard for you to convict me for destroying all this evidence. Mm-hmm. That's going to suck for you. Anyway, so I'm still going to sit here.
Yeah, and he just sits there and he just keeps on revealing what a shitty cop Donnie is, that he planted evidence, etc., etc. And as he's doing this, finally the tech team arrives, and Jigsaw reveals that Donnie, not Johnny. Donnie convicted all the victims and that he planted evidence in their case.
All right, and something here happens that bothers me. Not bothers me, it bothers too much that irked me for no good reason. She's like, there's something that you're going to need to see. Brown desk, second drawer. They go to a silver desk, second drawer. It's like stainless steel desk. I'm like, that's not a brown desk. How'd they find what he wanted in the desk he didn't ask for? And there weren't any brown desks in the room either.
Yeah.
It's not like there was another brown desk there. So that's just a little thing that bothered the continuity thing that irked me a little bit, but that is neither here nor there. Just caught it today while watching it.
You got an eagle eye. I didn't even see that at all.
I'm like, that desk isn't brown. He said brown desk. Why she even look there?
And this is where we find out that Detective Izzy is colorblind.
Yes, she's colorblind, and there was a file. There were files there of everybody that's in the room. You planted. Not only did you arrest all these people, you planted evidence on all of them. They couldn't be wrongly gone to jail, and they're all stuck in a room with your son. Wonder how that's gonna go. So anyway, I'm gonna lean back in my chair for a while. You could ruminate on that while I sit back and sip my water.
Yes, my water that you got me.
I love that part because he's like, it's not too much trouble. Would you mind getting me a glass of water? Because I can't do it. Please.
Yeah, shaking the cup.
Coughing like, please.
He's just caring for Mean Girls. I'm sick.
It's just like that. He does it so begrudgingly. He could, especially in it. He's just like, girl, man.
So much hate in his eyes. He's just like, I don't get water for anyone. I don't even drink water.
Girl, it's not an angry enough drink for me. You drink angry things that make me mad.
I never drink still water, only sparkling, cause it's angry like me.
Girl, mad. Yeah, it's just like the whole movie. He's like Hulk mad, basically the entire time, and it's wonderful. The longer it goes, because even any rational human being that was a decent human being at any point in their life would be like, this is not getting me anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he is quote unquote talking to him, Jigsaw's talking and he's just like going through all these canned responses. Like, listen, I'll help you. Just say something and just whatever. And even Jigsaw calls him on you. Listen, I know you're still not listening to me, and I'm gonna ask you to do something very simple. Sit here and talk to me, and you will find your son safe.
But you know, Donnie's not able to do that. But you know who
He's
else
a man of action.
Able to keep their calm?
Frankie G.
Frankie G. He is in the first room again, and he's trying to hit the safe open.
See, he's just trying to beat it open. I beat up people. I'm gonna beat up the safe until it gives up the antidote.
And it's at this point that for some reason, like he was dragging his baseball bat, and he knocked the coat that they put over the businessy guy's head, the guy that got shot in the face.
Yeah, to cover up the head wound.
Yeah, for some reason, Frankie G decides that he's gonna move back this guy's collar.
Because I think he's thinking. Actually.
I think they do a flashback and they have him thinking. Yeah, you're right.
The first time, it took him a little while, but right now, it said to use the brain a little bit.
He's just like all these toxins has him high, and he got him thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Listen,
and he remembers that the numbers are at the back of their mind, and so he looks at the back of this guy's neck, and lo and behold, he finds the number 2 written in red on the back of his head.
Now, my question to you is, the over the rainbow part, do you think Frankie G really knows, like, Roy G. Biv and, like, the order of the rainbow? Does he strike you as somebody that would actually know that part of it?
Okay, I have that question. I also, are numbers that are white and black involved? Does that just mean that those are numbers that are not relevant to the case? Or are we supposed to remember where they are on the spectrum as well?
White is every color, and black is no color, so I don't know. Maybe one of them will be the first one, or will be the last one, maybe?
I guess. I don't know. I struggled sometimes to be like, is that black, or is that blue? Or is that a green, or would you call that more blue? I was questioning.
Is that an indigo? Is that more like a blue-ish?
I'm not sure.
But Frankie G, I think, knows. I think he knows his colors.
Yeah?
Maybe. Yeah,
he's not like Detective Dizzy?
He's not at all. I think he is like, you know what? I got these colors, things wired. I'm not going to let that stop me. I just don't think he would know the order that they go in.
He doesn't have that color theory background.
I'm surprised I know Roy G. Biv. How is he going to know it?
Oh, well, I mean, he doesn't really get that far, does he? But
No, he doesn't.
So
not for lack of trying.
Not for lack of trying, but Showgirls shows up into the room, and he's puking up some blood and trying to make peace with beefcakes.
He tries literally the entire movie.
Yeah, he's always trying to be peaceful and whatever. He says that his family's on the line here. If he dies, they die.
Yeah, because I have enemies. I want to know his backstory. Because I have enemies, and they're trying to kill me. And if they can't kill me, they're gonna kill my family, and that can't let that happen. I'm like, what did you do? What's going on with this? We never find out.
Some like mob
Just
shit or
never.
something. I don't know.
With so many flashbacks, you figured they'd give me one, but no, not this one.
I mean, I guess we find out these are flashbacks, but there aren't really that many flashbacks than this one compared to last time.
Yeah, because you don't know the entire movie. Half the movie's basically a flashback until the end. But yeah,
Good old Beefcake / Frankie G. He doesn't want to share the info about these numbers that he found. He just pulls a knife on Showgirls and tells him to turn around, which when he first, like, I forgot that he had the knife, so he's like, turn around, and then he goes to reach for his waistband, and I was like, what kind of movie did this turn into?
this is not the kind of movie I signed up for. Out of nowhere, what's going on? You can't just throw this at me without telling me.
Yeah. But no, his knife is in the waistband, and that's what he's pulling at. He gets into a struggle with Showgirls, but eventually he kills him with the bat to the back of the head. And then we see that Showgirls has the number 16 in white on the back of his neck.
So then he starts roaming through the house, trying to find everybody else basically for the numbers.
Yeah, and everyone else is together right now, but they're all starting to feel the effects of that poison, and you can tell it on them, except for Amanda and Daniel, as we mentioned.
They really don't get it. And then Seventh Heaven does one of the last things she does in the movie is the X marks the spot thing.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, look, X marks the spot. And this is literally something that no one would have ever found.
Yeah, exactly. It was so subtle because the X is just a crack in the picture frame.
In a shithole where everything's broken. So, of course, the picture frame would be broken. You wouldn't think.
I realized that I missed in my notes the one other really great thing about Seventh Heaven is her line when she passes out in the middle of the movie and then she wakes back up. She's like, oh, that's the second time I had to wake up in this shithole.
I have to wake up in this shithole twice. This sucks. I'm like, that's good. Hey, Lee went out. I guarantee you. Yep. She's on death's door and death's answering, and she's like, I have to wake up in this shithole again.
Yeah. Good old Lee. But yeah, so she points out that there's an X smashed into the picture frame. Pink Shirt pulls the frame off the wall, and behind it, there is a badly photoshopped picture of Daniel and Donnie.
Yeah, they can't just take a picture.
Yeah, no, like instead it's just like a really badly photoshopped together photo of them. And just in case we didn't put together why they are in a photo together, on the back, in big bold font, it says father and son.
And then the arrow's like, don't tell me that's your father. He's not your father, is he? Don't say that it is. And at this point, I'd have been like, I don't know why that picture says that. That's not, really? No, that's not.
They're setting me up.
Don't know who that man is.
I've never seen him before in my life. Look how poorly photoshopped it is.
That's not it.
At this point, Pink Shirt decides to bail on them.
That's your dad, so I can't trust anyone here. I'm like, that doesn't make a logical sense. But then again, she is very close to death as well. She's not looking well at all. Coughing blood a lot now.
So Amanda also decides that she's going to ditch the kid, but she immediately finds Showgirls murdered and decides instead that she needs to save the kid and they need to move now.
Around the time with Seventh Heaven, she just dies.
Oh, yeah.
She doesn't get killed, nothing. She just like lays down.
Has a seizure and dies.
Yeah, she succumbs to whatever poison's running through their bodies, and she just doesn't make it. And Pink Shirt, she finds my favorite trap.
Well, before Pink Shirt finds the trap, we got Frankie G running around the house. He's found that Obi has 11 on his neck in what I think is green.
Let's go with it.
Seventh Heaven has 8 in black, I think. I couldn't tell if it was blue or black, but I landed on black.
Indigo?
Maybe. Then we flash back to the Little Shop of Horrors. Donnie is losing it for real. He grabs a gun and he starts roughing up Jigsaw, breaks his fingers, knocks him around.
Throws him, hits him.
Yeah.
Then puts the gun, like, open your mouth, puts the gun in his mouth.
Yeah, we're finding out that Detective Dizzy is the only cop there that's not okay with police brutality because the rest of them are like barricading her to be like, no, let him do this.
This is how we do things here in Canada.
I promise we don't do things like that here. I mean, okay, well, there is some police brutality, but we don't need to get into that. That's just a whole bunch of sadness.
Yeah, we don't need any sadness. But Jigsaw says the perfect line, game over. I'll take you to the house. Not take you to your son. I'll take you to the house.
But first, we get that scene with Pink Shirt.
Oh, Pink Shirt. She goes to my favorite trap. This is my favorite trap in this movie. I think it's my favorite trap because Lee Winnell was like, we did research on traps, and this is one that it's easy to get out of, but counterintuitive to get out of. And they don't explain it, and maybe because I saw the behind the scenes where they do explain the trap, the way this trap is, like, it's a plexiglass container with two little slits, I guess, in the bottom that are basically made with razor blades. So she puts, and with syringe in the middle, so she puts her hand up, gets a syringe, but she's like high and dying, so then she puts her other hand in to try to pull it out, and instead of her like looking around,
but she already spilt the syringe at that point.
Oh, she spilled it? I thought she spilled it with both hands in there.
No. With I wound and looked. So the first hand goes in, and she goes to pull up the syringe, and instead of pulling it by the plunger, she pulls it by the top and spills out the entire syringe.
Everywhere. So then when she puts her other hand, and then when the way the trap is set up, if you try to pull your arm back out, it cuts into your forearms. It's very subtle, and you have to know it's there to see it. If the first time they show it, on the top of the box, if you just keep on going up, that's how there's a key there for you to get out and unlock.
Yeah, that was one of my fun facts, is that it's just, instead of putting your your hands into the razors in the first place, you could have just used this padlock, unlocked the box, and gone in from the top.
The reason she didn't do it, I kind of that part, maybe they had found it earlier when they weren't so like dying. They might have been able to get through with it, but it's like a cool inventive little trap. It's just,
I don't know. Beefcakes is getting smarter as he's dying, so what's her excuse?
She wasn't that smart to begin with. Seventh Heaven acts like she's dying from jump. Like she's coughing, she's dying, she's pale. Pink Shirt gets like maybe she had a stash on her, because it's like she gets high as she gets closer to death, and like incoherent, unlike anybody else in this movie.
I don't know, but she's officially stuck in this box. This is where Beefcake comes up behind her and gently caresses her neck, pulling back her hair to reveal the number 9 in what I think is blue on her neck. So he then slowly backs his way out of the room, and she is screaming at him for being the asshole that he is.
Yeah, to only her surprise, no one else anywhere is like, oh, he left her there to die? I'm shocked.
Yeah, no surprise to anyone else. But now we're back at Little Shop of Horrors, and Donnie is like pulling some WWE moves on Jigsaw. He's just like,
oh yeah, he is going to town.
What is that move where they like literally like jump on someone?
Like an elbow? Like
with the elbow.
A splash? It's a splash or an elbow.
Okay, whatever. That's what he's doing. I'm like, what?
Just a flying elbow, just the Randy Macho Man Savage elbow? We'll go with that one.
Yeah, exactly. But at this point, Jigsaw offers to take only Donnie to the house. They use an elevator to escape.
Which apparently they were standing in the entire movie and no one noticed. Yeah,
that one, again, with the...
Yeah, because Don is like, how do we get out of here? He goes, there's a blue button over there. If you press it...
It's a red button, of course. It's saw. Red. And then the tactical team is like, no, we must go after them.
Like, no, they're in the elevator. There's no way we can catch them.
Yeah.
Ever. We don't know where that's going. Forget down.
And then Donnie gets into the car, and then we have that car driving scene similar to the first movie where it's all these like weird zooming in and out shots, and no one drives like this. But anyways,
I think it's going a lot faster than they are. I think they're standing still, but they want to make it look from the zooms like they're going fast. It's wonderful.
Exactly. And meanwhile, the tech team finally finds the address of where this video is being broadcasted from.
Yes, because the crack tech team took them like an hour and a half to figure out
how to get there.
One, how to get there, and then two, how to get the feed. Like, oh, we finally found it. But I did love the little graphic that came on the screen, like, it's found. Then, like, Google Maps shows up with an address and a pinpoint. I'm like, we don't have this today. That's pretty cool.
I don't know. I always love technology in movies when it, like, specifically cops technology in movies where it's absolutely ridiculous and this is not how it works.
Not even a little bit, but it's good. Like, I didn't know that whatever TV screen they were using had GPS on it. Cool, that's awesome. All right, and the internet.
We're back with our escape room victims, though.
Yes. Oh yeah. Because I think at this point it is Amanda and Daniel just trying to get away. Because I think they basically hear Frankie G roaming the hallways, trying to murder them.
Absolutely, and they've made it back into the first room, and they are barricading the door as Frankie G's trying to break it down. And meanwhile, it's cutting back and forth between the car and them. Jigsaw tells Donnie this. I don't know if you caught the line. It's the last house on the left.
I did catch the line. Yeah, that's nice Wes Craven reference.
Yeah, nice little reference there. At this point, Amanda notices that there's a trapdoor underneath the safe. They try to go for it. It's locked. Then they realize that the key that had been hidden with the tape recorder and the note, that's the right key. They recall that Frankie G had thrown it at one point and Jonas had picked it up, or Showgirls. This is where we first hear his name. One day, Jonas had it. I'm like, who? And then they start searching his pockets, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's his name.
He has a name. Awesome.
Okay, I'm glad that you psychically knew that. Somehow.
Yeah, that's great. We didn't need to know it apparently, but I'm happy you did.
Yeah, that's great. Jigsaw gives Donnie the key to the gate in the front of the house. Meanwhile, Amanda and Daniel are running down the stairs that are underneath this trapdoor, and Beefcakes is in hot pursuit.
Which my whole thing is not my whole thing. I was wondering, like, once they got into the gate, into the trapdoor, and it was locked, they couldn't lock it from the other side. I'm guessing. Based
on the key, I didn't see what the lock looked like, but it looked like it would have been like a padlock key. Once the door is closed, they couldn't use.
There was no padlock on this top. It was just like a.
I don't know.
They go down and then they start moving. Frankie G is moving slower now.
Yeah,
ever so slower, but still moving a bit.
The SWAT team, they're right on Donnie's heels and they've entered the building too, apparently. But Detective Dizzy says that she can't see them on the monitors. Meanwhile, flash to Amanda and Daniel as they're running through this maze that looks vaguely familiar. These hallways.
To cut back a little bit, because this is something I caught on my first viewing. All right, I'm gonna get back to the two things I caught. We're getting to the first one now. When I first saw the movie, when the SWAT team comes to the house, the quote unquote house, and breaks the door down, the door they break down to get in isn't broken.
That is very smart of you. I did not catch that.
And that's when it hit me what the twist is. Around that point, like, that's not broken. He's in a different house, but why is he in a different house? And then something that happens in a minute is what cements it for me later. So then back to Frankie G is chasing them down the very familiar hallways, which my question about these hallways is, you see how they get into the hallways in the first Saw movie. Because, spoiler alert, they show up in the bathroom from the original Saw movie.
Yeah, exactly. So them getting into this is completely different. Like, the structure of this building is completely different than what it was in Saw 1.
Totally different way to get in, from a totally different area, totally different angle. So either this random bathroom that was built for Lord knows what had 27 different entrances from different locations under these houses for whatever reason. They open the sliding door, they turn the light on. I don't know if they use the same shot, but it looks like basically the same shot from when they originally turned the lights on in the first one. And you see poor Adam, or what's left of him.
Yeah.
And I didn't rewind, but it looked like there was another body in there, but it wasn't. Like, and the other shots, it wasn't shot of anything else in there besides you see Dr. Gordon's leg. He didn't come back for it, apparently. They're in there, and he's freaking out over their body, and they try to hide in it from Frankie G. But no lock on the door, so he's able to get it.
Yeah, no. At this point, Donnie finds the body of Jonas. We notice that there's a syringe on the floor right beside Jonas, though.
But what I caught here about Jonas is when you look at Jonas' hand, it looks decomposed.
I didn't notice that because I was too busy looking at the syringe.
Yeah, when I first watched him, I'm like, his hand looked like he had been there a while, not like he was just killed 20 minutes ago.
That's fair.
And so does Frankie G later when they find his body. Spoiler alert. But yeah.
Yeah, I did notice his hand was messed up, but like I didn't put together that was decomposition for some reason. I was like, what happened to his hand? Did he burn his hand on the oven earlier? I don't remember that.
Yeah, so in my head, I was like, and that's when it cements me. Oh, this is pre-tape. That part. That's the part that cemented it for me. Which I was ahead of the movie by maybe 3 minutes, but still.
Frankie G makes his way into the washroom.
And Amanda tells him that Daniel didn't make it, and Daniel's there, and you think maybe he did die. Frankie G's like, show me the number in the back of your head. And then Amanda gives him the best point out of everybody else. Like, listen, you need the number in the back of your head. How are you going to see it if we don't tell you? Good point, Amanda.
So he tries to look in the mirror, which the mirror's back up? Because Adam
They broke
Prickett?
one.
Oh, only one.
Yeah, the rest
Okay.
one.
Okay.
But I don't even think these are mirrors. They look like steel or something because he rubs his hand on them. They don't budge. It looks just like nothing reflective there. So I can't see him in the mirror. Then Frankie G does what the guy in the beginning of the movie couldn't do. Mark, he takes a knife to the back of his neck.
I would have an easier time cutting off a piece of my neck versus my eye, I think.
Oh no, way easier.
Yeah.
But not for nothing. I don't think. Even with practice, I don't think it would have done as good of a job.
No, and how did he know exactly where the number was on his neck?
Well, he did cut a pretty big piece. It was a pretty big chunk.
It was like an inch by an inch.
I would have said 2 by 2, but still close enough. But my favorite part about it, he looks at it, smiles, puts it in his pocket, and pats his pocket like, I got it right here.
I wrote that down. I was like, what is with putting it in his pocket?
Loved it. He looks at it like, yeah, I got it here. I'm so proud of myself. That was so great.
But then, surprise, Daniel's not dead. And he uses the hacksaw from movie 1 to slit Beefcake's throat.
If the throat didn't kill him, he probably would have got tetanus from that thing. It was bad. So then Frankie G bleeds out and gives a better death scene than Adam did in the first one.
Well, I mean, we didn't see Adam actually die. We just saw him fake die.
He's pretend to die.
So Frankie's actually dying. So.
Yeah, he's actually dying in this one.
And meanwhile, the SWAT team reveals that they're in the wrong house and that the broadcast of what was happening in the escape room house was pre-recorded.
So they were watching it on tape to live. They were just watching because there's a bunch of TV monitors up playing all of them because they were all covered by. I want to know where Jigsaw get all these nice little satin sheets to cover things up. They're real nice.
They're like velvety, nice.
They seem nice and comfortable. I'm like, wow, because everything else is a shithole. Like it's a shithole house. Everything's fucked up and torn apart. But these sheets are very nice. This is always nice. He gives himself the finer thing.
He probably goes to the Mood fabric store and is just like, hey, I need 200 yards of this beautiful velvet material. Also, can you make me a robe?
I need it to look like this, red and black with the hood, very stylish. I want to look like a Jewish wizard is what I want to look like.
I heard a Jewish wizard first, not a Druish. I was like, I'm sorry, what? There's some Jewish wizards out there that I'm unaware of?
Maybe. I'm not aware.
My best friend does call herself a Jew witch, so you know.
Oh, there it is. So
there you go.
The male version. See? like a brother or like a male cousin. Boom. Here we are. There that is. And he must be a pretty good tailor or something because it fits well. It looks good on him. Anyway, so
he's styling. Yeah.
He is. I don't think I'd be able to pull it off, but it's still pretty cool.
But now we see Donnie stumble his way into the bathroom, all dark again. He heads over to that little tiny bathtub.
Little teeny tiny, because he sees like a hand on it, so he thinks it might be his son.
Mm-hmm. And instead, there's somebody in the pig mask from movie 1 hiding in the tub, and they stab him with a needle, and he immediately passes out.
He pulls his gun out, but not in time.
But meanwhile, at the little shop of horrors, the timer runs out, and suddenly a safe opens behind them. And as they slowly walk over to the safe, guns pointed, they reveal that Daniel's inside the safe and he's alive with an oxygen mask. Remember, if Donnie had just talked to Jigsaw for long enough, he would have found his son in a safe and secure state.
And there it is. Like he literally tells him in the beginning movie, all he had to do, sit here, talk to me, and it'll happen. That's it.
But Donnie can't do that because he needs anger management classes.
At least if he would have paid attention, maybe, but not even that. It was just like, "Where's my son?" Oh, man. What's the movie that is it? Somebody keeps says it the entire movie, and I can't. I've been killing me the entire time I'm going like, "Where's my son?" I don't know. I'm picturing Liam Neeson yelling at that for no reason.
I know, but that's Taken, and that's his daughter. But
it's his daughter. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say too. But I'm like, no, you're right. There is a movie where someone's continually screaming, "Where's my son?" Listeners, if you are screaming the name of that movie to yourself in a room right now, please find us on social media or email us series of horrors podcast, please. let us know.
Yeah, man, because it's killing me. I'm like, where's my son? I want to see Liam Neeson. I want it because it could be a different movie with Liam Neeson, but that's the movie I'm thinking in my head, and I can't stop. Earlier when I was saying, I was like, what is this movie? Anyway, he wakes up. Where are we now?
Yeah, where he wakes up.
And so, Detective Donnie waking up in the bathroom. He's yelling and screaming, "Where's my son?"
But then he has a tape recorder beside him.
You hear the recording, but this time it's not Jigsaw. It's Amanda. And I love Amanda. Well, I like Amanda. She's good. She's a good character and all, but she doesn't have the voice for this.
Yeah, it's just not as creepy as when Jigsaw did it, because it's just like, hello there. I'm Amanda. I don't know why she turned Southern in my interpretation, but, you know.
And blah, blah, blah. I have learned. He saved me. I'm gonna take up his mantle after he dies. You were my first test. I think she said test. My first test.
I think it was her first test.
Our first test, and game over. And then she just to reference the first one. Boom, and he yells and screams, and boom, fade to black. Directed by somebody that's not James Wan.
We mentioned it before. Bausman, yeah. That's the end of the movie.
So, what did you think? Now that you saw it, 16 years and now. Remember, they come out 1 year apart. So yesterday was 17. Today is 16. It's 16 years.
16 years later. I'm where I was when I first saw it. I think and I was kind of, it made sense to me in a way that this started from a movie that wasn't a Saw movie and then was edited into becoming a Saw movie. Like, it just, I don't know. There were a lot of things I didn't like in this movie, mainly that there were two characters that were at 100% of the time. Never came down. I couldn't understand their motivations in most scenes.
I kind of got to take the Donnie's motivation, but Frankie G, no reason why he had to be at 11 the entire movie. He just had to be all balls to the wall, asshole, beat people up, abuse everyone from the moment he woke up. To the point of it being counterproductive to what he wanted. Like, at least if it was working to get him what he wanted, I'm like, all right, fine, it's bullshit, but it's working. So whatever. But it didn't work. Like, it wasn't working for him.
Yeah, no. And I don't know. And when I first saw it, I appreciated the twist of it being Amanda at the end, but this time I didn't. I don't know. I was just like, okay, that's interesting, I guess, but why? Yes, she thinks that he saved her, I guess, but it just it's such a strange turn.
In this movie, it's like a shock for the sake of giving you a twist. It's like, oh, I'm gonna give you you would think somebody that went through it the first time wouldn't be back here. That's basically the first hint of it, probably. Like, listen, after what she went through, why would she fall back?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
And she didn't fall back because they even flash back to her cutting her wrist again, and it's really Jigsaw's in the room with her.
Was that necessary? Because she never showed people that her wrists were actually slit. So, like, why didn't she just wear some bandages on her wrist and say that she slit them?
Come on, she's a method. You know, she needed.
She needs to suffer for her art.
Exactly. Come on, it wouldn't have worked. They would have seen right through it if she didn't actually have the scars.
But then the whole thing of, like, this building is on top of that bathroom, that doesn't make sense to me.
That part got me. Like, today